we've spent plenty of time talking about vintage as far as the age of a property. And what's become really out of favor, I would say, over the last 18 months, maybe really only 12 months, is older properties, right? And that's actually the opposite of what was true at the peak of the cycle in 2021 and into early 22. The soup of the day, or the hottest assets, were the older assets that had meat on the bone, where you could go in and do renovations, and people were bidding on these deals super aggressively, and they're willing to overlook the fact that these were old properties and that you're going to have issues with plumbing, you're going to have issues with foundations and roofs and so on, right? Old properties are headaches. But people didn't care. People were just bidding against each other, trying to pay crazy numbers because it was a good story, right? Going back to the story concept, investors wanted the story. Back at that time, I remember we were struggling because we were finding some good buys that were a bit newer, a bit less risky in our opinion, and less of a headache, right? Because they were newer projects. But they were actually harder to sell to investors because we didn't have a sexy before and after picture in our pitch deck of like, hey, here's the old ugly kitchen and look at where we're going to transform it into, right? Investors could wrap their arms around that and go, wow, this is great. Of course, this deal is an amazing deal. Look at what we're going to do. We're going to take the kitchen and it's going to look like this with old Formica countertops and no backsplash in the kitchen, old hardware, old lighting package, old flooring,
Bad
carpet, paint, and old white appliances. And then bang, you look at the after picture and there's stainless steel appliances, granite or quartz countertops, backsplash, and the whole works, right? New cabinet fronts. And so that was attracting investors. And then, of course, that tail was wagging the dog, and sponsors were like, oh, okay, great. That's what investors want. And so they were going crazy. And so now those deals have fallen out of favor. So they went from this all the way to the bottom.